So welcome everyone. I'm Steve Dominy. I'm the Trail Maps Coordinator with the Voyageur Trail Association. I'm based in Sault Ste. Marie, but we have clubs right across Northern Ontario from Nipigon to the Blind River area. And I'd like to welcome everyone who was able to join the call today. I know we've got people from across Ontario, Southern Ontario, Northern Ontario, Michigan, I believe, Manitoba, Saskatchewan, and possibly Florida. I think there was
No.
one person who might be joining from Florida. So welcome, everyone. So I'm going to kind of break this presentation or demonstration down into three main parts. I'll start out with a little bit of an introduction on the Voyageur Trail, what we're about, and give you a little bit of background, particularly for those who may not be members yet. Um, but even for those who are, you may learn a few things. And then I'll demo some of the map products we have on our website. So I'll go through the web part of it second, and then I'll finish up by going through the app itself, the features of the app using Ondago. And I'll open it up. Well, I'll open it up after the web part for questions, and then after the phone part, the smartphone part for questions as well. All right. All right. So a little bit about the Voyageur Trail. The association kind of formed in 1973, was incorporated in 1974. So it's been around for over 50 years now. We currently have completed about 500 kilometers of trail in our network along the north shores of Lake Huron, Lake Superior. The trails are managed by local clubs along the route. And we also are very grateful for the cooperation of landowners who have given permission for the trail to pass through their properties. A lot of private landowners, as well as municipal and provincial, federal, in terms of provincial and national parks. We charge a membership fee for our members. Membership dues help us build and maintain trail, uh, purchase the tools and we need, and cover out-of-pocket expenses, pay for insurance, which we're required to have in order to exist as an organization, that liability insurance, and to pay for our maps. It's a big part of it as well. The membership dues are $35 a year right now.
So those people
Remember,
aren't muted, and if any sound comes from their computer.
members have free access to the maps, so that's one of the benefits of being a member is we provide the maps to everybody as part of that $35 a year. We are members of both Hike Ontario and the Trans-Canada Trail as well. Hike Ontario is the umbrella organization for hiking clubs in Ontario. We've been putting out a map guide, a trail map guide, since the 70s when the organization first formed. It was in paper form. Uh, and then in 2020, we decided to move to a digital format, given that more and more people were using digital maps, and but we still offer the paper map option, and I'll speak to that in a minute or two. Um, One of the reasons that we've gone to this model of making our maps available to members only, rather than, to the general public, is that we now have contact information. We know who has the maps, and whenever there's a change, a landowner maybe revokes permission, which does happen, unfortunately, on occasion. We have to either close a trail or reroute it. We need to be able to let people know about that right away. There can be safety issues, erosion that happens on a trail, or windfalls, a windstorm that's gone through an area and makes it impossible to hike. We need to be able to notify trail users of those kinds of situations. So this way we have everyone's contact information. We know who's a member and who has the maps. And we can also update them throughout the year. And each year we issue a new version of the map.
Well, that's
So you always have the most up-to-date trail when trail route when you're going out on the trail. Um, another reason for digital maps is that the trails may not always be up to snuff. We are a volunteer organization. Some of our more remote trails may not see maintenance each year. We try to do that, but some years we may miss a year, and things can happen. Trees with markers on them can fall down, or other things can happen on a piece of trail to make it difficult to follow. If you have your digital maps, particularly if you're using your smartphone, you'll be able to follow that route even if you can't find the markers. So it's a safety issue as well. And some people use GPS as well, so we provide the GPX files for people if they want to load those on their GPS units.
Right.
So what we use is the app we use is Ondago. It's a Canadian app made by a Quebec company. There are at least four other hiking trail organizations in Ontario that are using this app now, Ganaraska, Avon, Grand Valley, and Thames Valley. And but they have, there are trail organizations of all types, not just hiking, particularly across Quebec and Ontario, that are using this app. Now, you probably are wondering, particularly if you're a user of apps like All Trails or Avenza, why do I need another app? So the maps are on All Trails or Avenza, for example, they're user generated and they're not tested. Um, in addition, you may have to pay for some of those maps, particularly if you want to use them offline. You don't pay for our on-the-go maps to use them offline. Um, the All Trails and Avenza maps contain unofficial trails as well as official trails. It just depends on what the user, decided to upload there. Um, Quite often, the trails can be outdated, so they don't reflect the most recent changes. Um, and they can only be used in an app. You don't have any options to use those maps on the web. You have to go through a smartphone, whereas our maps are also available on the web. So as a Voyageur Trail member, you will get these on-the-go maps, which are on trails that have been approved by landowners. We have permission to have the trail there. We include trail descriptions, marker colors, interim distances, as well as the total distance on the trail, numerous points of interest with photos. We list cautions and restrictions, how to access the trail, parking, and so on, GPX files, as I mentioned, and offline use. So we think we've got a good product, and we just, are wanting more and more people to be aware of what we have. And I think once you see what I'll show you here in the next, half hour, uh, will hopefully convince you that these maps are well worth the time and effort to get to know and to use on a regular basis. I've logged in. I've gone under trails and then trail maps. And that's where you get to this screen, and you can see the overview map at the top. You can zoom in so far on this. For example, this is a 60-kilometer trail here, the Schreiber Terrace Bay area, Rossport. It's this isn't the detail you need to be able to hike the trail, but it gives you an idea of where it is, and it's kind of a teaser, if you like, to get you to look a little deeper and want to know more about that trail. So the, anybody can access this map. You don't have to be a member to see this. But you go down, continue down that screen. Below that, you can download PDF maps. These are available in paper form, 8.5 by 11 size, and each section has somewhere between 2 and 5 maps that cover the entire trail section. So those can be downloaded if you prefer to, some people like to have a paper map with them when they're out on the trail. It's kind of addressing a need that was identified when we switched from our paper maps over to the digital. The next section on that page is called Web Map Links. And here are the interactive maps. And I'll just click on one. I'll just pick one here, the Penawabakong Trail, which is near Blind River. And when you open that up, you'll see the trail. You may have to, scroll across to get the entire trail on the screen. It's divided into segments, and you can click over here on the left side, and you'll be able to go directly to one of those segments. And as soon as you do, that segment turns kind of a purple color or mauve color. And then you'll get some information here about that trail. Tells you, the length, whether there's water hazards, the best time of year, parking, and in some cases there will be suggested routes you can take to, make a loop trail, for example. So, and then the icons, you can click on an icon here. You want to know about this parking spot. Click on that, and over on the left, you'll get the GPS coordinates for that parking spot and a description of how to get to it, driving from Blind River in this case. And you can also I can go to this lookout, Lake Duborn Lookout number 2. Click on that, and you'll see there's a photo there as well. Most of the points of interest will have photos and maybe a bit of a description for that point. So that gives you an idea of kind of the uh, the web map. I'll go into more detail on some of the icons and things when I get over to the smartphone, the app maps. Oh, the other feature I'll mention is you can search here as well. So when you open up one of these maps, let's say you're interested in going to the fire tower, you can type in fire tower, and it'll take you directly to that fire tower segment or the fire tower loop or the point of interest at the fire tower. It'll just jump right to it. So I could click on that, and there's the loop trail that shows up in purple. If you wanted to look at this sign, there's a sign over here, interpretive sign, and click on that, and it'll tell you what a picture of it and what it is. All right, was that? Sorry. Okay, so below the web maps, we have GPX files. So if you have a GPX unit, you can download a file for any of our trail sections, and that can be loaded on your GPS unit. And then at the very bottom, the last thing is using the Ondago app. So if you can't find the code you need to get in, or you want to know more about how to use the app, we've got two files here you can download to give you that information. So the members, when they pay their membership, or membership year starts April 1st, when they, well, but you can join at any time. When you join, you get uh, a file with the code, the passcode to access the on-the-go app maps, and this will this file also has that information if you log into your account here. And then you can download the guide to using the app as well. Here's a screenshot from a phone. It can be an Android or an iPhone or a tablet. And the first thing you need to do will be, if you haven't already, well, when you open up, you load the app, you have to download the app onto your phone. And when you open up Ondago, you'll need to go up into the upper left corner and tap on Settings. And that'll open up this screen, which, and then you go to Advanced Settings under Settings, and that'll take you to, that'll show you these options. You need to choose access codes. We call it a passcode or an access code, same thing. When you tap on access codes, you'll see this screen come up with three dots up in the upper right. When you tap on those three dots, it will show you this screen and add access code. So this is where you type in your code, passcode, and tap on add, and it'll be entered. Once you've done that, you can get out of the, just it'll take you back to the main screen, to the main catalog page, and you'll see this. Every time you open up the app, you'll actually see this screen. This is a little promo that Ondago puts in here. You might want to look at that once, but normally you'll just skip over that, and it'll open up this catalog screen. And there's a number of ways then that you can see the maps. So each map that you want, each of our section maps, and there's 8 of them right now, you'll have to download it before you can use it. And once you've downloaded it, it'll show up here under private maps. But I'll show you some other ways that you can search and find maps, search for and find maps here. So right along the top, there's these types of trails or types of trail activities. If you scroll along that screen, there's one called hiking. You could also pick cross-country skiing or snowshoeing. Any of them will bring up a list of the trails near you that offer hiking. And you'll see the voyage if you live, anywhere in between Blind River and Thunder Bay, you'll see the Voyageur Trail maps closest to you. They'll come up at the top here, and you can just choose whichever one you want. And when you do that, oh, sorry, before I get to that, another way to search is to find the map you want is to use the search feature at the bottom of the catalog screen, and just type in the first few letters of Voyageur, and it'll bring up a list of all the Voyageur maps, and you can select the one you want from there. Uh, Another way is to use the Explore tab at the bottom of the screen. When you tap on that, it'll bring up a map of, well, it's a world map, really. You'd have to, it'll likely be zoomed in on wherever you are in the world when you tap on it, and you'll just have to expand that to uh, wherever you want, the northern Ontario area if you're looking for our maps. But you'll see maps from all over Quebec and Ontario there, particularly, and I think there's some in the US as well. If you zoom in on the Sault Ste. Marie area, for example, and tap on one of the little icons, the binocular icons, it'll come up, the map that's available there comes up. And in this case, I tapped on Voyageur King Mountain. And if you tap on that again or hit the little arrow to the right, it'll take you right to that map. So when you do that, it'll show up here under private maps. You'll need to download it, as I mentioned. Um, and the other thing, if you haven't used the app before, there's information here that you can check out as well. And there's quite a bit of it. You'd have to scroll down here a few screens to see it all, but it describes how to use the app and the where the trail sections begin and end and the length of them and so on. The maps are updated frequently by not only by Ondago when they put out a new version of their app, but also by Voyageur Trail. Whenever we update a map, uh, there'll be an update tab in the corner here. So if you open the map and you see that update, then it's a good idea to update it right away so you always have the latest version of that map. And once you've done that, you can tap on open, and that'll open up this screen. You'll get a welcome to the Voyageur Trail. The most important thing I wanted to point out here is the trail user's code. It's 8 points that, we basically ask all the trail users to please, respect the trail, respect the environment, the landowners and other people on the trail. And just tap on OK to close that. And then underneath that is a series of drop-down menus, which this is kind of a slide out. It appears from the left of the screen. And you can tap any of these. For example, if you tap, about Harmony Stokely Trail, up, it'll open up into another, set of descriptions here. Here's a few paragraphs about what that trail is all about. You can tap on any of those drop downs and you'll see similar text. When you want to close that slide out, just tap off to the right of that. That's the easiest way just to close that, and that will just slide out of sight over to the left of the screen. If you want to refer back to that at any time, down in the lower left corner of the map is a little icon, a document icon. Just tap on that and that slide out will reappear and you can pick whatever, information you're looking for. So here's a map. This is what the map will look like if you're on a smartphone or a tablet. You can see some icons, but you don't see all the icons. For example, you can't see distance icons right now. So, and the other thing to point out here is the red line, that's the main Voyageur Trail. Which if the vision the vision of the Voyageur Trail is to be a continuous trail between Sudbury and Thunder Bay at some point. It's a very ambitious objective, but we're continuing to work towards it. But this white trail, which is in red, a red line, but I'm sorry, I call it a white trail because we mark it in white around Sault Ste. Marie, but some parts of it use different color markers. but the main trail is in red, and that is the trail that will eventually connect Sudbury and Thunder Bay. Then we have offshoot trails from that, side trails or spur trails, and those are in blue. And so there's a blue trail on this map. And then we have some loop trails, particularly in the Sault Ste. Marie area. We have some loop trails, and those are marked in yellow on the map. And on the trail, we use yellow markers. So, and then there are trail segment names on each of these. So the Tear Lake Spur Trail has its own label, Tear Lake Loop, and a lookout trail, and the main trail, and an parking access trail, and so on. Every trail has, its own label. So what I'm going to do, the next screen is going to show this zoomed in at that point where it was circled. So right at this intersection, you see when you zoom in on the app, you now see much more detail. You can see the distance markers. The main trail distance markers are in blue. It's 5.9, 6.1 from the beginning of that section. And the red is the loop trail. We're at the end of the loop trail here, 2.6 kilometers. The brown is 4.0 kilometers. That's the length of that Tear Lake Spur Trail. So, this is, if all of these icons were shown when you were zoomed out, you wouldn't really see anything. They'd all be one under the other. So it's set up so as you zoom in, you get more detail. And then you can tap on any of these icons as I showed you on the web maps. But this, it brings up that similar information or same information that you would have seen on the web. You get a picture, you'll get some general information, descriptive information about that particular point, which in this case is a trail intersection between the main trail and the loop trail. And when you've read that, you tap on close, and then you can tap on any one of the trail labels. And when you do, it turns that purple or mauve color that I mentioned, that you would see on the web maps as well. And then if you want to get more information about that trail, you tap on info at the bottom. There's a general description that comes up. It tells you it's difficult and that the length is 2.6 kilometers. But if you want more, you would tap on that info, and it'll tell you how it's marked, what kind of blazes. In this case, we're using the rectangular 5 centimeter by 15 centimeter blazes. We use yellow and blue primarily, sorry, white and blue, and some yellow. Underneath that, you would see an elevation chart. It tells you there's an 80-meter elevation change on this trail. Um, Keep scrolling down, and you'll see a bit more information, in terms of elevation gain and loss and how long it might take you to walk that trail. The general description, and continue zooming down, and you get to the other information that I pointed out on the web, including, in this case, suggested routes. So you can, if you wanted to make a loop trail from the trailhead, in this case at Haviland Bay. So you can close that. And here's another example. And this is a case where there are two lookouts or points of interest almost right on top of one another, right beside one another. And if you tap, they show as being separate, but you cannot tap on them individually. You tap on one, and it comes up on the screen at the bottom will say one of two. And then you have to hit the little arrow on the right, and the second point of interest will appear. The other thing I wanted to mention is for each of the trails, that difficulty rating, you don't have to open or tap on the map, the label or the trail to find out how difficult it is because we use this color coding system and shape. So a blue square means it's moderately difficult. A yellow, green circle means it's easy, and a black diamond is difficult, and then we have some double black diamond. So, and I'll talk a little bit more about the classification here in a second. So when you tap on info, then you'll see a description of that and a photo in this case of the plaque that's mounted at Mount Gwyn, which is up in near Terrace Bay. Um, and the rating system, this is from the slide out. Again, if you uh, bring that out again, you can go to trail rating system and it'll describe uh, what constitutes an easy, a moderate, or a difficult trail. And there's also a link to a website, a URL uh, you can go to right here, the classification system. And if you tap on that, it opens up this file and you can see that, okay, that blue square means this is moderately difficult. And then you've got the green circle and the black diamond. Another nice feature, as long as you have your location turned on your phone, you have to go into your settings and turn on location if you haven't. When you're on the trail, you will see a blue dot where, showing where you are on the trail. And it'll bring up, when you tap on that blue dot, it brings up this screen at the bottom, which gives you your latitude and longitude if you needed that for any reason. If you wanted to, save that, a little tip is take a screenshot of this screen so you will have that to refer to later because obviously you're not going to remember these coordinates likely. Um, and then another feature is down in the lower right corner, the little arrow. If you tap on that, this is mainly useful when you first open up a map because it's still maybe trying to find, trying to find the satellites and get your location. But you tap on that, and that'll show your location on the trail as well. Um, so now I'm going to show you a few more features. So up in the upper left corner, this three-bar icon, if you tap on that, it opens up this screen. And what I wanted to point out here is the last item on this list. I'm going to start there. I'm going to talk about some others as well, but particularly this one. Uh, this is a new feature that Ondago has just added for us in the last couple of months. We've been testing it out, and everyone now has access to this who has our maps. And what this does is it opens up a screen and it allows you to submit a report. If you find a problem on the trail, and these are examples of some of the problems you might find, a tree, large or small tree, maybe the trail's overgrown. Um, there's maybe flooding on the trail or erosion, or maybe some markers are missing. Then you can just use a checkbox here system. You don't need to do a lot of typing. Just pick the item or items that you want to report on, tap on select at the bottom, and then there'll be a screen with you can enter additional information, like you have to enter the priority. Is this a low, medium, or high priority problem? Um, and and you can enter other information if you want. You can type in some observations or any other comments you want to make. and hit save at the bottom. And when you do that, it will uh, save that on the map. You'll see it on your map as a little yellow upside down teardrop with an exclamation mark in the center. And it will be automatically sent to the administrators as well. And I'm one of those. Matt Barutsky is another one, and Ian Laws is a third. We have three administrators right now who will receive this report, and we will, if it's, we will assign the follow-up on that report to the appropriate club, and it will be acted upon accordingly. You can tap on the info button at the bottom, and it will bring up that previous screen the screen here. You'll be able to see your report at any time if you tap on that info button at the bottom. Another feature under my profile is my messages. So we can send notifications to every map owner. Everyone who has the maps has an account with us. Will get a notification if there is a trail closure or some kind of incident that we need to report on immediately. We can send it out this way, and you'll get that. You'll see a message appear on your phone as well as here. If you ever need, there's all the messages will be saved here under the My Profile drop down on the app. And when you tap on My Messages, you'll see these little message symbols. Just ignore the terrain reports because I'm seeing those because I'm an administrator, but you would not see those if you go into my messages. But you will see this message, which tells you that that trail near Peter Lake is closed this winter because it's because of some logging operations going on there. And when you tap on that, it'll give you a description of what the issue is there. So, yeah, so the thing to point out here is that in order to receive those notifications, if you didn't, for example, see the one that I just showed you from Peter Lake, that means that you may not have allowed all on-the-go notifications in the app. So you need to go into the app settings for on-the-go and make sure you have all on-the-go notifications turned on in order to see those messages. And one other thing I'll show you under here is share my location. So this feature and the next two I'm going to show you, and that's the end, that'll be the end of my presentation here or demonstration. They require that you purchase an optional add-on called On-to-Go Plus. So if you try to open this up and you don't have On-to-Go Plus, you'll be asked to, do you want to make that purchase? Right now, I think it's $19.99 for to have access to this, and then I'll show you some of the features that would come with that if you are interested. And I will say that the Voyageur Trail does not get any kickback from selling On-to-Go Plus. This is strictly something that On-to-Go provides as a service. We don't benefit from it, but we do want to make our members aware that that these are options that you might want to consider. So share my location. You can well, if you tap on that, it comes up to my friends, and here you can add an email, share your location with. You tap on that little plus sign, and it'll open up a screen, invite a friend, and you can enter their email and hit send. And where this might be useful, for example, if you happen to be out on the trail alone and you have, your spouse is at home and you don't want them worrying about where you are, you can share your location with them, and then they can see it on the map, and they do not have to have Ondago Plus. So only the person sharing their screen has to have Ondago Plus. And the last thing I'll just say about that is that when you hit send, uh, you send that invitation, that the recipient of that email has to accept the invitation before they can see your location. Another feature here that we would get with Ondago Plus is this little plus sign down in the bottom right. If you tap on that, this allows you to add your own waypoints. So if you see something interesting on the trail, it'll open up a screen like this when you tap that little plus, and you can tap on add, and then a screen will open up and you can type in whatever you want to describe that point, and you can pick a different style of marker for so it stands out for you, whatever you want at the bottom. And then save. Once you've saved it, it will appear on your map, and you can always go back and see that screen, all that information that you entered just by tapping on the info button at the bottom of that screen. And then the last thing I'll show you is the recording feature. So you can actually, similar to other trail apps, you can record your trail. So when you tap on that icon, it'll open up this screen, start recording. So when you're ready, just tap on start recording, and you can there's some settings. You can adjust the recording frequency here as well. So that's the GPS accuracy can be adjusted. And when you've saved that, you've recorded it and saved it, you can go and see that under My Activities, My Profile and My Activities. All of anything that you've recorded will appear here. And then you can tap on any one of those, uh, and it'll show you the details and the map. It'll show you the map of where you went, and you're the only one who will be able to see that. And there's another settings option up here in the corner if you wanted to have another chance to adjust your accuracy, GPS accuracy. And that's what, a screen would look like after you've recorded. It comes up as a kind of a light brown, shows you the beginning and end point, and and some general information like how long it is and how long it took you to walk it, average speed, and then details. If you tap on that, more information will come up, like the date and time that you collected, that you did the recording and things like that. Okay, so I am going to stop there. I'll just leave it on screen share because I may need to refer back to a screen. But I'll open it up to questions. So please unmute, and I'll is anybody ready to go? I'll sort of have to try and moderate this so we're not all talking over one another. Do we have any questions? Or was everything so clear that you're just, I answered everything, every question you had?
Steve, can you
Steve,
hear me?
Yeah, Darcy.
yes, Steve, this is Darcy. I have a question about the report a problem with the trail. Does it save the location? Do you have to do it right when you're at that location where there is a problem?
Oh, Yes, you have to be at the location when you're reporting it. But if you don't have, thanks, I'm glad you asked that question because I'd forgotten to mention this. If you don't have a signal at that point, at the time that you report the problem, um, so you can still save it, but it won't send it until you get to a point where you have a signal again. So you have to be able to but yeah, you won't lose it, and it'll be saved, the coordinates will be saved, and everything, but it just will not send it, or you won't be able to see it on in your app until you get to a point where you've got close to a cell tower again, and you've been able to send that sig send the app automatically sends it at that point.
Okay, good. Thank you. That answers my question.
Okay, you're welcome.
And Darcy, I had tested this out on the Cascals in a spot where I knew there wasn't any data at all. So I went out there to where there was a couple of trees knocked down, and I put the notification in, and nothing came out. But I walked back down the trail 15, 20 minutes, and all of a sudden it popped back up when I came into coverage. So it absolutely works. It's a fantastic system. Thanks for the question.
Steve, can you tell us where there is significant limited coverage?
Significant limited
Limited
coverage.
coverage, cell phone coverage. So if you're tracking your location
Mhm.
and you got into trouble, say, there may be a section that is blacked out or it won't track your location because of limited coverage.
Okay, well, thanks. That was Pam, I believe. Thank you for that question. So actually, the maps work offline, so you do not need a cell phone connection. You can turn it on airplane mode when you start hiking, and it will still show you that little blue dot showing your location. That's one of the wonders of GPS and phone technology. The GPS function in smartphones will work offline. It still can find those cell towers. And so that little blue dot will tell you if for example you get to you're in a remote area and suddenly you don't see any more markers on the trail on the trees, and you're not sure where the trail is, you can open up your app, or if you haven't already, just and look for that little blue dot, look for where the trail is in relation to where you are, and walk in that direction, and you'll get back on the trail. Does that answer your
Yeah,
question?
yeah, that's good. So if you wanted to send a message though to someone,
Oh,
that's different.
that's right. Yes. So the share my location feature will not work unless you have a cell signal. So that is a limitation. You would if that and that's where, if you are going to really remote areas, and there are a few, the northern part that in the Sioux area, the very northern part of the Echo Ridges section does not have cell coverage or very good cell coverage. If you are going back in there and you're alone, I highly recommend bringing a satellite communication device like a Spot or a Garmin InReach device that will give you the option to send emergency messages, or in some cases, two-way communication. You can do text messaging with somebody.
Yeah, it's really helpful. Thanks, Steve.
Okay. All good questions. Any other questions? There's no bad questions. Anything that doesn't seem obvious to anybody? Okay. Well, I'm not hearing any more. Going, I'll give one last call here for questions. Maybe everyone wants to get back or go watch the Oscars or something. I'm not sure, but last call for questions? No? Okay, good. Well, that's perfect. Thank you for attending, and we are recording this, as you know, so it'll be available if you need to go back and check it out at some point. Um, we'll figure out a way to get it make it available to everyone. Okay, everyone, have a good night. Thanks. Bye.